Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of So You Want to Travel the World. Today I'm going to talk about that feeling that you get when you get back from a trip. Especially if you're gone for an extended period of time, or you've maybe never traveled before and you took that first trip, that allowed you to step out of your comfort zone and experience something completely different than what you're used to for the first time. I always tell people that have never traveled before that they're about to step into a different world. What I mean by this is travel, first of all, it's addicting. It's very addicting. It's the best addiction that there is out there, but once you get a taste of traveling, real travel, as in you step out of your comfort zone, you really experience a culture for the first time, and you do things that you've never done before, you learn things that you never even knew existed, that's real travel. At least that's, in my opinion, what real traveling is. You get off the resort, you actually go out and you talk with the locals, you get to know them, you get to know the culture and the traditions, and you become part of it. Someone who has never experienced that before, they're about to step into a completely different world. It's kind of hard to explain, and the only way that you can really fully understand what I'm going to be talking about is if you do experience it yourself. 2 years ago, I traveled for 10 months straight without coming home, and that was the longest time that I had actually been away from home. 2 weeks before I was going to be returning home from that trip, I was excited. I was excited to see my family and my friends and sleep in my bed again, open my closet and see more than 2 tops and 1 pair of pants, and put makeup on, do my hair, just like little things like that. And I was excited for it. I was sad, of course, that my trip was coming to an end, but I was really excited to take the next step in my life. It was really nice to come back home and be able to sleep in a clean, comfortable bed in a place that was so familiar to me. But at the same time, it was so foreign to me all of a sudden. It was really weird. It wasn't like anything I had expected would happen or how I would feel. And this place that I called home, that was so familiar to me, suddenly became foreign, and I felt out of place, and I felt uncomfortable, and I felt like my friends and my family couldn't understand what I was feeling. I didn't even understand what I was feeling. And what I was feeling was reverse culture shock, is what I call it. I had been away for 10 months experiencing so many different cultures and so many things I'd never experienced before, and traveling solo through so many different places, and traveling with a partner, and just so many things I had experienced in that 10 months time, which felt like a lifetime. And all of a sudden I'm home, and I feel like no one can relate to me. I feel this sense of emptiness inside of me that I couldn't explain. I felt sad, I felt out of place, I felt depressed. When you travel, you grow really fast. You learn things about yourself that you never knew before. You learn about your likes and your dislikes, and maybe what you liked before you all of a sudden don't like anymore, and friends change because of it, and relationships of all sorts change because of it, and you really do grow. You learn so much when you travel than you cannot learn from books or television or someone else explaining it to you or the internet. It's personal, and it's your own journey, and you'll find that you could be gone for 5 months and feel like what you learned is a lifetime worth of things, and you come back home and everything is the same as when you left. And that's what really, I think, hits home. That's what really affects you, is you come back, you feel like a changed person, and everyone else around you is exactly the same. How could they understand what you just went through? And that's when you feel kind of alone, and you feel like no one understands, and you might feel sad, and that's why it's really good to connect with people who have experienced these things with you. Not saying forget about the ones who haven't, but if you are feeling that way, connect with someone who understands what you've just gone through, and It will definitely make you feel better. But remember, you have just gone through a life transformation. And you might not know it while you're traveling. You're going to notice it when you come home. You're definitely going to notice it when you come home. And it'll be something that you can't really prepare for. You can't at all prepare for. I thought, because I had traveled previously many times, that I'd be fine going away for 10 months and coming back and getting back into society here in Toronto. And oh my God, I could have never expected to go through what I went through a year after returning home. Not at all. The emotions that came with it, it was just so unpredictable and nothing that I could have ever imagined I'd go through, especially as someone who's traveled so much previously. I had read somewhere that it takes the time that you've been gone plus half of that in order to start to feel normal, I guess. Normal, whatever the hell that is, but it takes that amount of time to feel, I guess, comfortable returning back home. And I can say that it took about a year for me to actually not, I guess, feel normal, because I don't think I'll ever feel normal again. Once you travel, once you see other parts of the world, you're never the same. That's it. That's why I tell people that they're about to step into a completely different world and see things completely differently, and they're going to be hooked. They're going to be addicted to travel, because once you're home, you just want to leave again. It's such a weird feeling. So the year following my 10 months trip, I went through a lot of different emotions. But for the most part, I felt depressed a lot of the time. And it was really hard to deal with it, because I didn't completely understand why I was feeling that way. Wasn't I supposed to feel excited about the next chapter in my life? Wasn't I supposed to feel excited to talk about the trip that I just had that really did change me in so many different ways? I didn't even want to talk about it anymore with people. I just kind of closed off, or I put on a face for people and the friends and family around me, and only let a couple of them know how I was actually feeling. And it really took a long time for me to wrap my head around it, around this feeling that I had inside me, this sadness, this emptiness, I felt lost. And it was the most difficult time I've ever had in my entire life. Whatever you're feeling, that feeling of no one understands me, what I just went through, and I want to talk about my travels, but when I do, I feel like people aren't really listening, or they just don't understand, or that feeling of all of a sudden you feel lost and you feel like you're a foreigner in the place that you grew up in, the place that should feel like home and should feel comfortable. That feeling, and maybe feeling depressed yourself or feeling sad, and you just can't understand why. Trust me, you are not alone. Myself and many other travelers that I've had this discussion with, we've all been through it, and we continue to go through it. The thing that you need to do is to accept it and embrace it. Don't feel like, why am I feeling so sad, and feel down on yourself and try to understand it and just drive yourself mad for feeling this way. Just accept it as a human experience, as something that we all go through as travelers, and as a human being, we are able to feel all these different emotions, and things affect us, and that causes us to feel something. And it's okay if you feel sad, it's okay if you feel depressed, and you're gonna get over it. Trust me, you're gonna get over it. Not so much get over it, but you're gonna understand it and be able to deal with it. And it's really good to talk to somebody, and especially someone who understands or has been through the same kind of experience you have. So please, if you really do need to talk to somebody, you can email me, you can discuss if you'd like in the comments below. You can email me privately at Kristen, KRISTENJ, at hopscotchtheglobe.com. I'll leave the link below in the description. And just really remember that you're not alone, and we all go through it as travelers. And it's okay. It's because you've exposed yourself to a different world. not a different world, but you've opened yourself up to this massive world. You've stepped out of that little box that you've known your whole life, and you've seen what else is out there. Of course it's gonna affect you. And they say, oh, when you leave and you go to another place, you might get culture shock. And yeah, like, wow, all these things are so different and cool. Oh my God, I can't believe that's happening, or people do that the way they do. That feeling that you experience in different cultures doesn't even compare to the culture shock you feel when you return. And I don't think there's enough warning about that, about how you're gonna feel when you return home. But just know that you're not alone, and it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to feel lost, and it's okay. It's okay, and it gets better, and you understand it more, and the more you travel, the more you understand, and the more you come home and travel and leave and travel, blah, 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 the more you understand, and you can kind of prepare yourself that you may feel those emotions again, and that it's okay. I actually wrote an article about a year ago called "So You Just Returned Back from Traveling, Now What?" And I've been able to reach a lot of many of you out there, and I'm so glad for that. And I've been able to help you just by expressing how I've felt in my experience with returning home after traveling. And that's why I wanted to make this video too, because I want to be able to reach more of you and let you know that you're not alone, and there's a big community of us who've experienced exactly what you're experiencing. So if you need to talk to anybody, email me below, leave a comment, and I will see you next week. Happy travels!